I'd like to start by saying the people in this room are what make the beautiful aspects of dentistry and speaking come to life. Vanessa has been an amazing encourager to me to share in the heartbeat of a passion for speaking, which is something I've always had, but now takes on a new place with dental being a piece of that. About 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to come and join my dad, Dr. Tallon, in his practice of 35 years with an end goal of acquisition and retirement that would follow. I will tell you what followed that 5 years was a growth of 189% and a beautiful acquisition that just took place with Partnerships for Dentists that I now get to be a part of and work with. There were so many steps involved in getting to that end goal, but it originated with one thing, and that one thing for us was identifying a mission and a vision that a team could get behind. We had a practice of 35 employees, all aimlessly moving in different directions. Wonderful people, fabulous dental knowledge, but never a common goal. So we started the practice with this primary focus that drifting without aim or purpose is the first cause of failure. And if we could redefine what our mission and vision really was and generate brand advocates who believed in the cause that we were propelling forward, only then would growth occur. So we decided to enact one key word, which was caring. It had to be a piece and a framework of everything that we did. Every touch point from the patient, from the beginning to the very end of the visit, had to be more about loving and caring for human beings rather than operating as humans who were doing. We were engineered as human beings, by the way, not human doings. So if you take that thought process, take that philosophy to heart, and really believe that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. We grew from 2 doctors to 5, and as we brought on new associates, what I found is they were wonderful at sharing dental knowledge with patients. And I can tell you, many of those patients came to me after as I was serving in the office manager role and were so disgruntled with the services provided. Did the doctor provide poor service? Did she give them a poor filling? Did she not go over the treatment plan properly? Absolutely not. What happened was she didn't take the time to connect with the patient on an emotional level and share with them how much she really cared about them as a human being before she ever moved forward to perform the work. I love dentistry because there are so many finite details. I spent time learning the processes of how a filling took place, how crowns took place, all with the end goal of realizing there were infinite possibilities for how the delivery of that service would unfold. I brought a chair on stage because I wanted to share with you that the delivery of a treatment plan, when walking into a room, standing up and sharing it with your patients, Joe, you need a crown. We're going to need to take you up front and make sure you get scheduled for that crown. Looks far different than if I sit down and I said, Joe, I know you came in today because you have a tooth that's hurting. I'm so sorry about that. But what I can tell you is we have an opportunity to fix that for you. And what I can tell you is we have the ability to put something over that tooth surface and protect it so that you don't have to lose that tooth. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you up front, and Betty's going to go over some of that the fees and the expenses that are associated with it. But I wanted you to know that we have the ability to take care of that for you. And I watched these dentists who had no background in communicating with patients, but beautiful knowledge in dentistry that they had learned from this incredible training, transition into these relational beings that started talking to Joe and asking Joe how his kids were when he came back. And lo and behold, Joe tells his friend, and his friend comes in and hears how great it is in our office. And Joe's friend tells his friend and his family, and growth begins to multiply and occur. It was a beautiful situation to watch a practice of 35 years become less about focus on the profitability and how many procedures can we accomplish, and more about the relationship in the beginning. Our doctors now have a philosophy that when they walk in the room, we ask them to share with the patient as they begin to numb and start providing the care to the patient. If at any point during this procedure you feel that I have lost connection between the tooth in your mouth and the rest of who you are, please let me know. I love that because what we say to the patient is it isn't about the one tooth I'm restoring, it's about you. It's about who you are as a person. And at a relational level, we all crave that because we live in a digital society. And absolutely, you want to get to a place in marketing where you're doing all of these things to generate reviews, SEO, radio, advertising of any kind. But the origins of all of those things starts with how you choose to be relational. We developed a continuum of care that really became the basis and the philosophy for how we would move forward. Patients became priority number one after vision was redefined and our mission was instituted, which was enduring craftsmanship and quality is priceless. Patients became our primary focus in how we would deliver content to them. Protocols became next. We knew that if we were going to provide Joe with the very best crown in town, it didn't have to do with the fact that we had the newest CEREC unit or that we could mill it right there in the office, but the efficiency by which we could deliver on that and get Joe well on his way to whatever else it was he needed to do. I'm not sure if you've been in an office and experienced what that's like, but if you haven't felt that someone was honoring of your time, you well know what followed. You were disgruntled. You were late to your next appointment. You didn't feel valued or loved or cared for. And I believe that as you start to establish those protocols and redefine what's happening within your business, what follows is a patient that becomes loyal for life. We then focused on the practice and our staff as a whole, reinstituting those protocols and teaching them what it meant to recommunicate things and deliver them in a very different way. Our hygienists went from a mode of just performing daily jobs and tasks to becoming those relational beings that understood the protocols but were caring for the patients. And what followed out of all of that, the 189% of growth in those 5 years wasn't the first end game. It was indeed where we landed, but we never started with that goal. We started with loving people well. And I know that may seem like a simple philosophy, but I believe in my heart that if you establish a business and you put your customer first, everything else falls in line. So we created patient communication tools to deliver on knowledge that patients didn't have. Over 90% of the patients coming into your office have no dental knowledge. They're not aware, they're not familiar with what an implant is. I would watch our doctors use dental terminology right over the patient's head, and there was nothing relatable within that. Implants was one of them. We do a lot of implants now, primarily because we've slowed down enough to explain to the patient the steps involved and why it costs what it does. It isn't one piece, it's multiple components, it's time, it's integration into the bone to give you something that would hopefully last a lifetime. We also created protocols where we time studied our procedures. We evaluated the needs, sterilization setups, cassettes. What could we do to improve our overall delivery? We created a profitability structure where we reduced overhead. We checked out where we could give patients those credits for other treatment. We even went through on patient financing, places like Care Credit, to talk to patients about the opportunity that they had for restoring their teeth. And out of that, we redefined leadership within our practice. It wasn't about exercising power, but it was about a capacity to increase the sense of power in the people that worked with us to become brand advocates for the cause of being relational and really loving people. And I will tell you, out of all of those things that I learned this last 5 years, I came to really respect the fact that caring and loving for people is at the heart of every good business. Thank you so much.